Hello, EduMagicians. Welcome to the EduMagic podcast with your host, Dr. Sam Fecich. Dr. Sam is a professor of education, author of EduMagic, and a pumpkin spice latte fan. This podcast is designed for pre-service teachers. Remember, friends, teaching doesn't begin at graduation, but during that first class at 8 a.m. Let's get this party started.
I'm Chris Dutchko, co-host of the Ninth Grade Experience podcast, a part of the Education Podcast Network, just like the show you're listening to now. Shows on the network are individually owned, and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other interesting education podcasts at edupodcastnetwork.com.
Hello, EduMagicians, and welcome back to another episode of the EduMagic podcast. My name is Dr. Sam Fecich, and today I have one strategy, but 6 words. Let's jump into it. It's called a 6-word story strategy. Raise your hand if you're in the car or if you've heard of this one before, because this is a really fun strategy. I learned about it 5 years ago at a STEM camp. Yes, as teachers, we get to keep learning, and I was able to attend a STEM camp where I learned all about robotics and coding and all that good fun stuff. But I also learned, in addition to all the robotics and STEM strategies, I also learned about a fun instructional strategy called a 6-word story. So I'm going to continue, and I continue to use this strategy in my classes probably once a week with them. And it is so much fun to implement. And it gives the students an opportunity to review what they've learned. And it gives me an opportunity to check in and see what they have learned in a really creative way. So we're going to jump into this strategy. It's called a 6-word story. We're going to describe what it is, how to set it up with and without technology, and some ways that you can use it in your next lesson. So this is something you can learn about like right now and put into your class right away as an exit ticket or an entrance ticket. But you know what? I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's back it up a little bit and talk about, well, what exactly is a 6-word story? So a 6-word story is something that a student, or you can have students grouped together, they create a story that's only 6 words. It can be a summary, or maybe it's a highlight reel of what they learned about or the topic of the day. And they can create it in lots of different ways. So there's some creativity here. It can be a full sentence that makes sense logically, that is only 6 words long. It could be 6 random words, like bullet pointed words that relate to the topic. It could be an acrostic poem, that has a 6-letter word and 6 words that is used to describe each letter that describes that topic. So my students have had a lot of fun creating these 6-word stories. And sometimes I'll have students create them independently. So on their own, they jot down a 6-word story, or in pairs, I have them create a 6-word story. This allows them to collaborate, communicate, and use their creativity to show me what they know. And you know what? Sometimes I'll even put some parameters on their 6-word story. So for example, I might tell my students, let's create a 6-word story without using, and then I'll name like 3 words they can't use in their story. So let me clear up that example for you. So for example, if I had my students write a 6-word story about component 1A of the Danielson framework, I might say, create a 6-word story about the Danielson framework for teaching component 1A, but you cannot use the word pedagogy, content, or knowledge in your 6-word story. So it gets them thinking creatively, chatting with a partner, and really apply what they're learning and kind of, bring it down into several words instead of a full paragraph or all these bullet points. Just give me 6 words to describe that component 1A, which happens to be a knowledge of content and pedagogy. So that's why they couldn't use those 3 words. So this helps them to edit and rephrase their learning in their own words and in a creative way. So some ways we can set up a 6-word story. You can use paper and pencil. So have students grab a paper and pencil or a pen, markers, whatever, give them a sticky note or an index card for them to jot down their story. Or maybe you have them divide their paper up into 6 frames, and then in each frame they can write a word or draw a picture that describes that topic. So it's 6 words or 6, maybe it's a 6-frame story if you want to do something like that. If you want to keep kicking it with a 6-word story on paper and pencil, You can also head on over to my TPT store and grab a 6-word story template that you can print out and use for your class. Go ahead and grab that over there. But if you want to use some ed tech, there's a really cool tool called Lumio. If you haven't used Lumio before, head on over to the show notes because there's a link there. It's a free tool. It does a lot. One of the features that it has is a 6-word story activity template. So you can head on over to Lumio, create a free account, and try it out. With Lumio, students can write in their response, so they can draw their response, they can type in their response, or they can search images for their response, which is really cool, getting some creativity there. And then another benefit of using the ed tech is you can show student responses up on the screen. So everybody submits their response, and you're able to have them up on the board, have them describe their 6-word story or why they chose those words. So now they're sharing out in the large group. You can also have students draw or create a flyer on Canva for them to show their 6-word story if you want to get a little fancy with it. So thinking about when you might want to use a 6-word story in your lesson, there's really no wrong time to use it. You could use it as an entrance ticket when students come in. Up on the board, they have the prompt that says, write a 6-word story about what you remember from the homework or what you remember from the reading. So as they come in, they're starting to think about those 6 words, and maybe on their desk, they have a Post-it and they can get their pen out and start jotting that down. Or they have the freebie that you grabbed over on my TPT store, and they're just jotting that down too. Then you can also do an exit ticket. So a 6-word story is an exit ticket. Maybe they jot down the main idea or the topic that they learned about in class and or apply that knowledge. For example, if you're learning about a math concept, give me a 6-word story of when you've noticed this math concept in real life, and they can jot that down. You can also use it during formative assessment. So during your lesson, do a quick check-in with your students, make sure they're understanding what you're throwing down. So really, there's no wrong time in a lesson to do a 6-word story. You can do it as a check-in, an entrance ticket, or an exit ticket. Lots of ways to use this. You can have it paper and pencil. You can also use ed tech like Lumio. So overall, a 6-word story is a fantastic strategy to get your students reflecting on their own learning. And they can show their 6-word story in lots of different ways. So they can draw it, they can write it, they can text, if they can use the text editor. If they're using Lumio, they can pop in images if they're using Lumio. And I would love to hear what your ideas are for a 6-word story or how you're going to use it in your lesson today. So go ahead, tag me over on Instagram at sfesich, that's SFECICH, with your idea. And I'll make sure I share them in my stories because the smartest person in the room is the room. We can all grow from everybody else's ideas. All right, friends, I hope you enjoyed this quick tip, a 6-word story that you can implement into your lesson like today. So let's get those creative juices flowing in 6 words. All right, friends, you have a fantastic day. And remember, you have the EduMagic within you. Bye for now.
And there you have it, EduMagicians. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share it with your friends. For more EduMagic, check out sfesich.com and follow Dr. Sam on Twitter and Instagram at sfesich. Until next time, you have the EduMagic within you.